Welcome everyone to another episode of Price Target with your host Bitcoin Jack. Let's have a look at Bitcoin today. Let's have a look at ETH. Let's have a look at DAR. Everything looks really good. We have the daily close in less than 90 minutes. I think that's gonna confirm something I've been hoping for. A lot of upside. First, I want to have your attention for eCars. They're sponsoring this content. They're my partners. They're having this Lunar New Year trading competition. You can win around 3 Bitcoins and 10 ETH. So make sure you go to their website, register, and see how you can have a chance on winning these prizes. That would be really appreciated. The link is in the description below and in the watermark. Thank you very much for sponsoring eCars. And let's dive into Bitcoin because Bitcoin is doing very well. ETH is doing very well. Last video, we talked about this. We had a breakout. We've reached the first target, and now we're past it. Past this level at 36.5, going into levels where breakout is becoming more and more likely. I'm kind of a little bit worried because this is kind of like a little stair up, which, you know, can always break down very hard, but this resistance has been tapped now 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Arguably, you might have to count this as 2 separate or 1 accumulated instance, but it's just looking very strong. Been long. I kind of hedged a little bit, back long, and I don't know. This is looking very promising. I think we're going to be looking at the high time frame targets I mentioned last week. Hayes confirmed bullish. I might have to like show you this chart. We have the diagonals from up here, and we're going to have a daily close above all of them. And then the other thing you got to consider is price is starting to fully retrace the quote-unquote Elon pump. The gap after the retrace. So basically we had a pump, retraced most of it, kind of held the resistance flip here. And then now we're breaking out, getting above all these levels. So essentially kind of having like some kind of a little bit of a funky inverse head and shoulders. And it's looking more and more like that's going to be a continuation pattern. Unconfirmed, but once we start breaking above, let's see, I'd say I grab the 4 hour above here. I think this is just a very nice rounded bottom, and we start plowing through resistances. Very exciting. Very exciting. Why? Well, it's kind of because we have, let's see, we've seen a lot of volume. A lot of volume. It's been growing. If we can manage to see continuation, that means that everyone who sold here is trapped, and we're talking close to record volume. Like a lot of volume in March, but you know, it's similar volume, or maybe even higher volume than when we were in this part of the 2017 bull run. And once you look at, you know, the amount of volume that we had here, it's definitely a lot more. So that just gives a lot of strength and obviously the supply was a lot less large back in 2013, so you can use a supply adjusted formula if you want. That's probably more effective, but at the end of the day, it just means that we're trading a lot of volume, and that's a bullish thing, especially if we see a breakout and continuation. So where does that put us on the large scheme of things? Well, I kind of argue that if we see continuation from here, it kind of makes me think that we're right here or right here. So essentially that gives us an entire fifth wave of upside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's not as visible in the 2013 bull run, but the 2013 bull run, maybe we should go to a lower time frame, had a similar structure right here, and then this was also a full fifth. So you can see how significant of a rally that still was in this case. And also in this case. We confirm that we're not going to 27k, which is more and more likely as we continue to go up here. Now if we close above here, that's just very, 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 very bullish. This 3-day is going to close in 3 days, so it's a bit early. But on the daily, we're kind of gaining this region here. So I'm very bullish if we can manage to close above here. So where does that put us in terms of targets, right? Well, let's just start out quote unquote conservative, because it isn't. If we don't see a breakdown, we don't go revisit this region, I'm pretty sure that we're going to be doubling this range. So 0, 1, 2 seconds. All right. We on a daily become a little bit conservative. That kind of puts us into the high 50s. Just remember that price at 54k ish, that is $1 trillion market cap for Bitcoin. So obviously there's going to be some kind of struggle, a little bit of resistance, just the psychological resistance, but it's also just going to push Bitcoin back into more media attention. You know, headlines: Bitcoin $1 trillion market cap. But so 50, high 50s, low 60s, that's really where the doubling of this kind of range puts us, and that's a reasonable target if we see continuation for the first leg. So probably we end up somewhere here, see a bit of a correction, and then continue, because what I do think is that we're going to be forming some kind of fifth wave continuation. So this would be wave 1. A second wave correction, and then just more brutality. 80, 90k is possible, but let's just start with the first expansion and see how that holds. If it's going to be even more than that, we'll see. There's a lot of ums in my story today because I've been sleeping very weirdly. My My health has been a little bit of an issue last week. Had like belly problems. They came back today. Fell asleep. So I'm sorry for that. ETH BTC. Last video we talked about how I wanted to see that the daily was going to be holding back above 0.04. It did, so that's really bullish. I think it's just going to continue to target that we've been talking about for months and months on end. ETHUSD obviously doing very well. If you've been on Twitter, talked about this kind of like diagonal resistance to be a key level. Then later on, we kind of got into this diagonal key level. They are all being claimed. So we're on our way to 2K, especially if Bitcoin is going to start breaking out. But I'm, far more bullish than just 2.2. This is just going to continue, especially if ETH BTC is going to continue showing strength. But let's just focus on the first targets, which is 2 to 3K. Really bullish. We had a look at the S&P 500 because it was a measure of fear for people. Kind of looks obvious that we're just continuing with strength. Looks like the market is back risk on, that this entire little sell-off was enough for the market to kind of recalibrate its fear. This is probably just going to pop higher. The fix down here retraced fully back to the levels where there was no fear. So really bullish. I think legacy stock markets are back risk on, which is important because at the end of the day, I think Bitcoin is risk on too. Beautiful sign, ETH BTC on a weekly time frame. Just going to fill the gaps here. Exciting. And then obviously we still have the whole dollar story, which is kind of starting to break out here. But I'm not sure, like I said on Twitter, sometimes correlations just shift and the causation shifts, so things become less predictable. People see the dollar go up and they expect that it's bearish for equities, bearish for Bitcoin. Maybe something else is going on right now. Maybe it's not as bearish, and people will figure out why it's not as bearish by the time they've kind of been counter-trading the correlation they expected to see. So careful with correlations, sometimes they change. Let's finish off with Bitcoin. I think daily close above 39 is really hard to deny high time frame continuation. And first order of business, depending on how fast it goes, is towards 50K. 84, 48, 49, 50 is probably going to be our next target, and with a little bit of consolidation, could probably save 58 to 62 for larger correction in the range of like 30% can happen again. I think that's it. Make sure you check out ECOS and the Lunar trading competition, and I'm going to catch you on Sunday. Peace.